I saw an advert recently on Facebook, and it said something like 30 days course to enlightenment. That's all it takes, 30 days. And you've seen many like that. They sometimes it's 7 steps, or I've even seen like a 3 day one. It's like they've got to beat got to beat each other. So what is it appealing to? It's appealing to personality, because personality wants to be given something to do. It wants to be that has results. It wants the time frame. Okay, so if I really apply myself, how long will it take? What's the deal? What's the bargain? So basically, it's purporting to be about spiritual awakening, but which for me obviously means going beyond personality, but in fact it's actually appealing to personality. So for me that immediately invalidates it, and it kind of shines a light on this whole area of there's spirituality as we see it out there in all the forms and all the knowledge and all the concepts, and then there's going beyond personality, and they're not necessarily, there's some overlap of course, but they're not necessarily the same thing. Life doesn't conform necessarily to what the personality wants. In real inquiry, you don't know when the results are coming. You don't have the comfort of knowing that. You only have the yearning that you follow, and that's enough. And that yearning involves surrender, and that's a surrender to the not knowing. But you are given something. You're given something just by the yearning and the looking and the inquiring. And when the big breakthroughs come, you don't know. And we talked about this last week. There's this kind of mood of fullness in waiting. You're ready, you're willing, you're kind of poised, open, and that's kind of how you live. So as I say, the idea of packaging turning that into something you can package into 30 days is it just, for me, it's like it's a tell, and it tells you, oh, this is about what personality's version of spirituality, something it can own, it can get hold of, it can pursue, it can distract itself with.
I agree 100% with what you say, because it's so obvious. It just gives itself away so well, because we know that it's easy to organize truth. It's easy to sell it also with marketing and with all the knowledge provided by the neurosciences, and you can go into that and still your personality be in control, having the last word and guiding your experience, which is totally opposite from what you're saying, Jez, about surrender. To me, that's a key word. And apparently in the spiritual world, most people don't really, they repeat the word, but they think it is in this giving into, for instance, the 30-day, that you're really giving yourself into that, and you believe that your result is going to change your life. But this other exploration that you're pointing to, it's totally deconstructing, totally going in a different direction, the direction of beyond the idea, the personality. It all points to an unknown. And as long as we don't want to be in that state or or come close to that state, well, we will remain secure and thinking that we can buy it.
Yeah, you can't help thinking that something's creeping in. I mean, I've got nothing against charging money really, but when it becomes big business, what's the energetic source? What's the motivation? Because why are you using selling techniques like that? I mean, in this world, you have to kind of get over what you're sharing. I mean, I have to do that with this. I do feel that if you are applying what we're talking about here, and which is the surrender, and which is without those knowns and those goals, but with true inquiring, I would say that yes, there are results, if you want to call it that. There cannot not be, I don't think, because that is the way. It's a bit like the sandcastle by the sea. When the sea comes, in the end, it's going to wear it away. So there will be results. What those results are, how they come, when they come, is between you and life.
Well, I guess what it brings up for me is, because yeah, even what we're doing, yeah, I guess we're not on the 30-day path, but I I I still want to progress as
Yes.
quickly as possible. I'm 60, I've got, I'm like 2/3 done this thing here, so, there is some urgency, like the great matter of life and death is upon us. What else is there to be doing, and so there is always kind of the question of like, what, like whether it's feeling my pain, whether it's seeing the personality. There's always I guess those are the two things that I'm always like interested in, is feeling or seeing.
Yeah.
And then, there's times when I'm wondering, is there more I could be feeling? Is there more I could be seeing? And, am I slowing myself down as opposed to, am I in a rush? I'd like to wake up now, rather than in 10 years from now or never, by choice. So, but I know doing isn't going to get me there. And, so it's always an ongoing inquiry. But yeah, there is a certain amount of like, I'm always wondering, like, am I doing enough? Is there more I could be doing? Or am I getting in my own way? Are there things I'm doing that I shouldn't be doing? I'm always kind of questioning that. So I think it is.
Well, I would say you would be getting in your own way if you were thinking, I've got to get this in 30 days.
Right. Yeah.
But to your point, though, there's a difference between, let's call it a passion, an intensity, a strength of the yearning like that. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, you've got to have that. So there's, I'm not in any way putting that down. But there's a difference between that and the personality coming in and saying, I've got to get it up, and doing. And that's a subtle thing. Obviously, we've talked about that sort of area quite a lot, and it's easy to miss that. But if you cross the line into doing, it's not helping anything. The background hum, the background resonance always has to be this feeling of being on the edge of surrender, that you can't make it happen. I suppose it's such a paradox, isn't it? Because yes, you want this, but you can't make it happen. That's the sort of paradox and the kind of cross, isn't it, that you can be on. But something happens in the surrender to that actually takes you beyond personality. I'm wondering, Elijah, whether the point, I like your question. I think it's very honest and real. And I wonder whether the point is questioning like where the one that wants it now is coming from, like I said, passion for this, and is all good, yeah. But is there a sense of, I suppose the trap is like, oh, when I'm awake, I won't suffer. That's the big, I won't suffer like this. Well, you might do. Not like this, but you can still suffer. That's the danger of turning this into a great panacea. That's the word, isn't it? Panacea. A great one pill that takes all the pain away. And perhaps it helps to work against that. If I say, well, it may not take all the pain away, you will see things very differently, but you may still have pain to feel. It's almost like you will feel it from a different place. You won't be, I would say, the personality does a good job of keeping things in place, and it keeps you from feeling certain things. So without the personality running the show, you can be exposed to things in you didn't even know were in there, and you will face in fulfilling engagement with life. You will face them. So there is a danger that we turn awakening into the great pill that takes all our suffering away, and the great goal in that sense. And now if you've got the yearning, you've got no choice in going towards waking up. That's what it is. And even if you find that what I'm saying is true, you can't not walk towards it, go towards it, because that's how you're made, and that's what this yearning, that's the fulfillment of the yearning. It's a trap. It's very easy to do, and I guess most of the machinery of spirituality out there is built around that. You've just got to get this, and all your suffering will go away.
Yeah, I mean, what are they going to get? What are you going to have at the end of those 30 days? What is it that people think they're actually going to get?
Well, that's a good question, isn't it? That comes down to what have they heard about this thing called waking up, and what are their concepts of it? Because it is a concept. If it hasn't happened, it is only a concept. It's what you've heard.
Yeah, if they said, you're going to get to feel all your pain, even the stuff you don't want to feel, in 30 days, come on.
Yeah.
You're like, can you take a little longer than 30 days?
Yeah. Exactly. It's and in hearing that, would you still, if you said that to people, right, you've got 100 people in the room and you tell them what you've just said, right, we're gonna give 30 days to enlightenment, and enlightenment feels you will be utterly open to your wound and a lot of the pain you're not actually in contact with now. Anyone want to leave? Like, how many are left? The ones who are left be the ones who are interested in something beyond the 30-day routine, beyond, they have the yearning and they can't. It's like, well, if that's what it is, the yearning wants to be fulfilled, and if that's how it is, that's how it is. You don't have a choice in it. I was actually accused of it once, which is really odd, because this guy read something I'd written or something I'd said, and he kind of put me down. He said, you're given a false idea of what waking up is, and so you're part of the problem and you're misleading people. And I said, it's like, I'm not. I in that instance, I was obviously talking about perhaps more positive side of things, but I talk about all sides of this. It would be pretty heavy if I only talked about this side. It would be, and it wouldn't be a true picture. We can also talk about love. We can talk about the freedom that comes and all of that. The stuff that gives it that image that we're used to, the image that the personality wants. I suppose it's because there's a lot of that out there where it's given this shiny image that I don't have to do anything, but we're even talking about this to give the balance, because there is an image of it out there being this great pill that you just take and in 30 days you can be beyond all your pain. So it nudges me to say, well, actually, that's not what this is.